Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Gittin. We are up to Parakeh Mishnah Aleph. Today's Mishnah should be Le'elu Nishmat Neria ben Svetlana Ranbayev, Eliyahu ben Burcha Israelov, Chana bat Miriam, Sason ben Raya, and Yoshua ben Shifra, Minuchatam began Eden, Amen. And Avdil ben Chaim lechaim, v'derefua shelemav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betoch Shah Cholei Israel. This chapter continues listing rabbinic decrees that were enacted for the benefit of society. It begins with laws that concern paying off a monetary obligation with land. A person's land is divided into three types: high quality, what we call idit, medium quality, benonit, and poor quality, ziburit. These three levels, idit, benonit, ziburit, are determined by the lands owned by that person and not by land in general. It is possible for a person's ziburit, land of poor quality, to be better than general idit, land of high quality, and vice versa. The Mishnah teaches that different types of land are used to pay different types of monetary obligations. Hanizakin shamin lahem bi'idit. In order to compensate people who suffer damage, if someone or his property, for example, his animal, damages another person or his property, he must pay the victim with money or movable goods. He may not give him land unless he has no money or movable goods available or the victim agrees to accept land. But in order to compensate people who suffer damage, we assess for them the amount of their loss and they collect it from the damager's high quality land. Now the Torah itself specifies that damage be paid from metav sadeo, his best field, in Shemot chapter 22 verse 4. However, this refers to the best land of the victim, metav sadeo shel nizak, meaning if the damager pays with land, he must pay with land that is equal in quality to the best land of the victim. According to Torah law, then, if the damager's poorest fields were of the same quality as the victim's best fields, they would be acceptable for payment. But the rabbis required the damager to pay with the best of his land, metav sadeo shel mazik, even if it is superior to the best land of the victim. This enactment was made for the benefit of society so that people will be especially careful to avoid damaging the person or property of others. Although the total value of the land given in payment is the same regardless of the quality, people prefer being paid with a smaller portion of high quality land rather than a larger portion of low quality land because it requires less work to yield good crops. Ubal chov bebenonit, and a lender collects his debt from the borrower's medium quality land. A borrower too must pay with money or movable goods. Our Mishnah speaks of a case where he has none and must therefore pay with land. Under biblical law, when a borrower uses land to pay off his debt, he may give land of the lowest quality. This, however, might discourage people from lending since they do not want to receive inferior land as a payment. The rabbis therefore enacted that a borrower pay with his medium quality land. Uktubat isha beziburit, and a woman's ketubah is collected from the husband's poor quality land. According to biblical law, a wife can collect her ketubah only from land. However, in the times of the Geonim, the sages who lived after the Gemara was written, the law was changed to let a wife collect even from money or movable goods. Therefore, a husband may give her land only if he has no money or movable possessions available, or his wife agrees to accept land. And in that case, the woman collects her ketubah from the husband's poor quality land. The woman collecting her ketubah is actually just a case of someone collecting money that is owed to her. Nevertheless, unlike a lender, she collects from the husband's poor quality land. In the case of lenders, the rabbis were concerned that a person might not lend his money if he knows that he will be paid with the land of the lowest quality. In the case of a ketubah, however, since women generally have a strong wish to marry, they will not refrain from getting married just because they have to collect their ketubah from the husband's poor quality land. The next Tana disagrees in the case of woman's ketubah. Rabbi Meir says, Af ketubah isha bebenonit, a woman's ketubah payment is also collected from the husband's medium quality land. According to Rabbi Meir, a woman owed her ketubah is the same law as any lender owed money, and she is therefore paid with medium quality land. And the Rav does tell us, Venecha ki Rabbi Meir, the halakha does not follow the opinion of Rabbi Meir. We continue now with Mishnah Bet, which continues with the subject of taking land for the payment of a monetary obligation. People who are owed money may not collect payment from sold properties if there are unsold properties in the payer's possession. Now, if one person owes another person money, the one who is owed the money can take the land of the one who owes the money as payment, like we learned in the previous Mishnah. Even if the debtor has sold his land to someone else, the claimant can take it from the buyer, provided that his claim to the land alone came before the buyer's purchase. However, a creditor is allowed to collect only land that was sold after the loan and not movable items that were sold after the loan, as the Gemara in Baba Batra writes on page 44b. Now, the Mishnah refers both to a person collecting payment owed for damages and to a lender collecting a loan that was recorded in a single document, as it discusses in Baba Batra chapter 10, Mishnah 8. In either case, word gets out that he is owed money, so it's public knowledge that he has the right to take the debtor's property, and anyone who then buys land from the debtor knows that he is taking the risk of having to surrender it to the creditor, as the Gemara writes in Baba Batra, page 175b, and the Maggid Mishnah writes in the Rambam, Hilchot Malveh V'Loveh, chapter 19, Halacha 5. Va'afilu hen ziburi, this law applies even where the unsold properties in the payer's possessions are of poor quality. The law is that a person who is owed money can take the debtor's land even after the debtor has sold it to another person. However, he can collect sold land only if no unsold lands are available. If the debtor still has some land in his possession, the claimant must take that land as payment and not the land that was sold. This law allows people to buy land without fear of losing it, because if the seller has a claimant, the buyer can protect himself by leaving enough land in the seller's possession to pay off the obligation. In this way, since the claimant must collect the unsold land, the buyer will not lose what he bought. This is so even if the land in the debtor's possession is of poor quality and the claimant is normally entitled to land of higher medium quality. Like we learned in the previous Mishnah, a lender who is seeking payment of his loan may take land of medium quality, and a person who is seeking payment for damages may take land of high quality. Nevertheless, if the debtor had sold land of medium or high quality and is left only with land of poor quality, the claimant must take the poor quality land, because the buyer can argue to the claimant, I left land in the possession of the debtor from which you can collect. Therefore, you must take that land regardless of its quality. Now, the Mishnah states the law for people who come to collect payment after the debtor has died and his estate has passed to his orphans. A person who's owed money may generally collect from the debtor's real estate even after the debtor has died. People who are owed money may collect only land of poor quality from the inherited property of orphans. Even if the claimant would have been allowed to take land of higher medium quality from the debtor himself, he may take only land of poor quality from the debtor's orphans. In the case of one who suffered damage, although he is entitled to land of high quality during the damager's lifetime, he may take only poor quality land from the damager's orphans. This law was enacted for the benefit of young orphans who are incapable of taking care of their own affairs. To make things easier for them, the rabbis allowed them to pay with land of poor quality. In the case of a borrower who died, the reason is different. Like we learned earlier in Mishnah 1, biblical law permits a borrower to pay with land of poor quality, and it was the rabbis who required him to pay with land of medium quality. The reason for this enactment was the rabbis were concerned that a person might not lend money if he thinks that he will receive poor quality land in return. Therefore, to encourage people to lend money, the rabbis gave a lender the right to collect land of medium quality. This concern, however, does not apply after the borrower's death, because a potential lender would not go so far as to worry about what might happen if the borrower dies before paying. For this reason, the rabbis said that once the borrower dies, there is no need for this rabbinic decree. Rather, the biblical law, which allows payment of poor land, is restored, and this reason applies even where the orphans are adults and can take care of their own affairs. And that is the Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.